Welcome to IVTNN's Good Morning World. This week we are discussing about the American election for child trafficking increasing in India and Chinese expansionist theory and call for war by the Chinese president. Please stay with us. It was in the last election. Trump had to face a lot of resistance from the establishment. In this election, the story is no different. Trump is facing a stiff competition or stiff resistance from the establishment controlled by many media houses, including Washington Post. Now, Washington Post has come out with many news that is going to mudsling Trump, and if they believe that they come out with a fake news that the Biden will win the next election, Trump will not. Unfortunately, the mood of the public, the voters, are opposite to the assumption of Washington Post, like earlier they have done in the election. Trump is going to win this election and the establishment is going to lose this election once again. And Biden has only 10% chance to become the next president of America, because Trump has done a lot of positive things for the public, including a trade war with China, because the trade deficit was very high, and now he has brought down many things, and China has given a lot of concessions and access to the American products in the Chinese market. Earlier it was not like that. Chinese product was in the American market, but China was producing its own and consuming, and they were not giving any access to any foreign countries' products that much, and keeping China as a rich country. At the same time, other countries are having a lot of deficit in their trade. And now the time has, Trump has brought all these deficit into a narrow level, and the public is happy with him, and he is going to win the next election. COVID and the pandemic has created a lot of problems across the world, whereas there are some new problems have been created other than the health problems in the Indian state, is that the child traffic and the women traffic has increased. Why? Because of the child traffic is mostly run, owned and operated by the white collar criminals who has a very family relationship with the rulers, either the politicians, police officers and bureaucrats, and they have a partnership in all of this business, and children have been abducted and they have been amputated, or they made them handicapped and keep them in the different traffic junctions and make them beg in the junctions, and they collect a share of the money from each other. At the same time, the women have been abducted and sold in the brothels and forced them to do the prostitutions. And all these, besides all these, there is a narcotic trade, as the Bollywood has become the news these days because of the narcotics, because narcotics brings a lot of money and margin to the people who are operating it, and most of them are owned and operated by the political class, especially the family members of the big politicians, including the Shiva Sena members were accused in this case, and the Indian state is reeling under the more and more troubles of the narcotics. Once upon a time, the state Punjab was under the scanner of the narcotic regime, because they have been, it was easy for the Pakistan to send a lot of narcotics through the border and sell in the Punjab, and most of the Punjab youngsters have become the addict of this, and later on it was detected and strict measures have been taken. Ethiopia has come out with a strict law to make the people abide by the rules to prevent pandemic. They have made a rule that everyone, those who are found without wearing the mask, will get a punishment of a 2-year jail term, and every countries have to learn from Ethiopia's stringent measures, because sometimes most of the citizens' negligence and moving in the crowded areas without keeping the social distance has created mostly the spread of a pandemic in such a vast level and killed many people. And in the Indian state, most of the people, including VIPs, have been affected and died. The former President Pranab Mukherjee and one singer of the southern state, Balasubramaniam, were also died because of this pandemic affected. Many political seniors and cabinet members were also being affected. So Ethiopia should be praised for such a stringent law to be passed, and they have forced the citizens to abide by the law, otherwise they will go to jail. This should be a lesson. This should be a benchmark for the other countries too. Chile, one of the fastest growing economy in Latin America, is under turmoil now. Now the people are demanding for a referendum whether the outdated 40 years old constitution to be replaced by a new constitution or not, because most of the policies have been taken using the present, standing on the present constitution has become favoring the rich and neglecting the poor, and the poor people are suffering a lot. So the political turmoil is going on, and street procession and protests are keeping the heat, and the people are demanding a new constitution. At the same time, the political class is saying that it is not the constitution. The people who have drafted was responsible. If the people who drafted the constitution, they were criminals, it doesn't mean that the constitution is bad. They are asking the people to choose the right political class to use the constitution for their favor. At present, the public accuses that the political class is favoring or creating all policies that favors the rich and neglecting the poor. It has to go. Cardinal George Pell would be going back to Rome because he was expelled for coming under the scandal of sex by Rome, and now he has been proved innocent, and he was insisted to come back to Rome. And the Rome was under the crisis for sex scandals many years, and many people have been accused of using the power for sex. Otherwise, church is a prominent center of any kind of sex scandal for so many years, including the dark age of Catholicism. The Chinese President Xi Jinping has asked his soldiers to be prepared for the war, because now China is being surrounded by many countries because of its expansionist theory, which is using the military and money to subdue the small neighboring countries. And the latest one was the Chinese controversy, Chinese fight with the Indian army for recently, and death of many soldiers on both sides. Now the China is become one of the most isolated country and the most controversial nation in the world, destroying the peace and stability of the global system. So the all countries have been united, and China has asked its soldiers to prepare for war because Taiwan, Hong Kong and the Indian border of Ladakh has become an epicenter of a controversy. At the same time, China has also created a new group which includes the data gathering, intelligence and psychologists and propagandists to influence many citizens, prominent citizens, rulers, decision makers and civil society members, including students, to influence them and make the policies, raise the voice in favor of China. And China has invested a lot of money to hiring the lobbyists across the world. This will enable the Chinese and the neighbors to progress together than the fighting for dominance. And China will have to have wisdom to have a deal with all neighboring countries, including India, giving them compensation for the loss China has caused for the neighbors because of its expansionist theory as soon as possible and by peace, instead of sending its soldiers for the war, because no country will war to fight a war all alone against 25 to 30 countries which are not favor of a Chinese expansionist policy, because most of the neighbor countries which are a victim of a Chinese expansionism is getting support of the international community, and most of the countries will help these countries supplying them radars, ammunition and intelligence, and it won't be in the interest of China, and China has to decide a course of action that would save its economy, its army, its dignity and its sovereignty and the image in the world as one of the best countries that support the peace and prosperity. If China will not do it, what will happen? First of all, China will lose this war if they will come for the war. Secondly, China may lose its UN permanent seat that would be replaced by India, because India has shown maturity and cooperation and be a peace-loving country which has shown the world that how India can progress. At the same time, India's economy is totally going down because of GST, because of demonetization and the later on Corona. And while the Corona has helped the Modi government of India saving its hands from burning due to the anti-CAA riot. And at present, the Indian Kashmiri leaders has united and they have come with a declaration as if they have been doing in the independence of the state. However, this Article 370 has been misused and exploited by these leaders and the separatists to using the terrorism in the country, in the state, and the leaders were enjoying the 5-star luxury life while the poor Kashmiris were suffering both in the summer and in the cold winter, and they suffered a lot. They lost many family members, whereas the leaders keep on nominating their family members as the leaders. They never nominated any common citizen in the as a party leader so far. So they have been running the party as a private limited company with the family members as the key partners, and this has to go. And Article 370's removal was good for the integration of India, otherwise the nation would suffer, and Nagas like separatists would demand more and more independence from India. So it was very good that the Article 370 was annulled or cancelled and Kashmir was completely integrated to India. Now the only plan left in front of the Indian political leadership is that whether they would take over the Pak-occupied Kashmir today or tomorrow, and while the civil war is still taking shape or becoming hot in Pakistan against the Imran government. And thank you for watching IVTNN's Good Morning World. This week's Good Morning World is ending right here, and thank you for watching once again. Have a nice day.